1923 in Springs, Transvaal, South Africa. I became known as a novelist, short story writer, and political voice against apartheid. Through my writings, I exposed the painful realities of racial segregation and injustice in my country. I grew up in a middle-class family. My father, he was a Jewish immigrant from Lithuania, while my mother, she was from England. Even as a young girl, I noticed the unfair treatment of black South Africans under apartheid. These experiences deeply shaped my beliefs and inspired the stories I would later write. My works, they reflect the struggles, fears, and hopes of South Africans during this difficult period in history. The greatest influence on my writing was apartheid itself. I witnessed discrimination, violence, censorship, and inequality around me. I was also inspired by African culture, political activism, and the growing resistance movements fighting for freedom and equality. One of my most important experiences in my life was witnessing racial injustice firsthand. I saw how laws controlled where people could live, work, and even whom they could love. Because of my opposition to apartheid, several of my books were banned in South Africa. That's crazy, right? Despite this, I continued writing fearlessly. I also supported anti-apartheid activists, including Nelson Mandela and the African National Congress. And greatly, in 1991, I received the Nobel Prize in Literature for my contribution to literature. I contributed to African literature by using fiction to confront political and social injustice. My novels and short stories give voice to people suffering under apartheid and encourage readers to reflect on morality, freedom, and human dignity. My writing combined powerful storytelling with political awareness, making literature a tool for change. And here are my famous literary works. I have Burger's Daughter, July's People, The Conservationist, and None to Accompany Me. Honestly, I write because silence would mean accepting injustice. I stand before a crowded room holding a notebook in my trembling hands. Outside, protests echo through the streets of South Africa. I hear the cries of people demanding freedom and equality. Here is a famous literary piece of mine, entitled July's People. This novel tells the story of a white liberal family, the Smales family, who flee from civil war in South Africa during the collapse of apartheid. They seek refuge in the rural village of their black servant July. As they live together, traditional roles begin to change. The white family becomes dependent on July, especially for survival, revealing tensions about race, power, privilege, and identity. Exploring also themes about racial inequality, power and role reversal, fear and survival, human dignity, the effects of apartheid, and lastly, freedom and social change. This novel is important because it imagines what could happen if apartheid collapsed violently. It forces readers to examine racial relationships and question systems of power and privilege. The book became one of my most influential works of African literature because its honest portrayal of South African society. The novel, it directly reflects the realities of apartheid era of South Africa. During this time, Black South Africans face oppression, poverty, and limited rights, while white citizens held political and economic power. My story connects literature with history by showing how apartheid damaged both the oppressed and the privileged. It reminds society about the importance of justice, equality, and humanity. And that's all for my life story.